What's up, guys? Welcome in to Trainer Talk Tuesday. Today we're going to be talking about 3 food groups to avoid for overall better health, guys. So really good subject, really great for you to just go ahead and have the best diet possible. That way you can continue to reach those goals and keep a very strong immune system to fight off all of those things that we're dealing with in today's world.
Yep, guys, so we are calling this the 3 S food groups. So they're easy to remember, and then you can work on either avoiding them completely, as Nate said, or at least reducing the intake that you are consuming each day. So we're going to get right into it, guys. Number 1 is sugar. And when we talk about sugar, we are talking about refined sugars. So examples of this would be things like, your cookies, your cakes, candy, all these, fun foods that people like to gravitate towards when they're having a sweet tooth. That is what we're discussing right now. Refined sugar has actually been proven to reduce your immune system for up to 5 hours after you consume it. So that means, anytime you're eating any kind of sweet treat like that at nighttime or on your office lunch break, grabbing a few candy out of the bowl at your office, that is making you more susceptible to getting sick, because it's going to reduce the function of your overall immune system and make you more likely to catch whatever is going around.
Right. Guys, simple as said. Obviously, sugar is not something that is healthy for the body overall, especially when we're talking about refined sugars. So like she mentioned, cakes, cookies, pies, candy, that includes sugary drinks like your sodas, your juices, things that aren't natural substances as far as just fresh squeezed fruits. These things are going to suppress the immune system. And guys, especially in moments where you are going to be in a position where you're going to be surrounded by people that aren't in the greatest of health at the moment, meaning people have colds or other things of that nature, you're going to want to make sure that you're not, suppressing your own immune system, making yourself susceptible to catching that cold or whatever it is at that time. So just avoiding that at that time, trying to reduce the amount of times you're having that in general overall, not even just for the idea of you getting sick, but just your overall health in general when it comes to having a healthy, balanced diet. We're not saying that you can't have these things from time to time. We're just saying try to have these things in moderation, but when you are finding yourselves in positions where your immune system can be compromised, you really want to avoid it, stay away from it, and try to focus on things that's going to help benefit your immune system at that moment to make you stronger and less susceptible to catching that cold.
Yeah, and we're talking about, common illnesses here that are highly contagious, right? But if you consume enough sugar over an extended period of time, you will also start to develop chronic diseases. So it goes much further than that, than just like your common cold or flu. Nobody wants to feel sick, right? But you definitely don't want to make yourself more susceptible to getting chronic diseases, whether that's cancer, diabetes, anything like that, guys. Any kind of an autoimmune issue, this is going to just aid in those diseases. It's going to feed those diseases, and it's going to ultimately keep you sick long term, not just, in the short time period that we're talking about with like common colds or flus. So keep that in mind, guys. If you want to replace this, then we would suggest consuming natural sugar. So in the form of fruit. And you can eat fruit in its whole form. You can juice fruit. You can also blend up fruit in shakes. You can honestly do a lot of different things with fruit. You just have to be creative about it if you don't like just eating it in its whole form all the time. But fruit should really taste like a sweet treat to you if you are eating the foods that you're supposed to eat and avoiding the ones that you should be. So you'll start to notice as you get away from refined sugars that your palate will change and it will get used to eating natural foods, and then things like strawberries will taste pretty sweet to you, whereas they may not right now. So just keep that in mind, keep working on it, and we're going to get into number 2. So the second thing that you should avoid or eliminate for overall better health is starch. And the reason that this is so high on the list is because starch is actually processed as sugar in the body. So a lot of people are getting like double their dose of sugar intake when it comes to this because most Americans are consuming a high amount of starch. It's usually the basis of their meals. So starch is going to be things like pastas, rice, like breads.
Yeah, breads.
Yeah, anything like that. So we want to definitely reduce or overall eliminate our consumption of starch. It is also going to make you more prone to these diseases that we talked about, particularly even diabetes is a big one, that if you're consuming a lot of starch, a lot of sugar in general, that eventually your pancreas will start to give out, and then that's when you become insulin resistant, type 2 diabetic. So these things are definitely something that you want to take into account.
Yeah, guys, and one thing that I would add is to be sure that when you hear us say this, look these things up, do some research on it, and come to find out a lot of these facts for your own. And guys, it's no secret too that a lot of the foods that you go and you eat out are very, very starch and sugar filled. And then our number 3 coming up is going to be a whole lot of that as well, which is why these places aren't ideal for you to eat at very, very often. So do some research, look these things up, see the facts on it, and then that way you know how to better avoid it so that, again, like I mentioned before, you can have a better balanced diet, especially when you're trying to lead a healthier lifestyle in your future.
All right, guys, and in replacement of starch, we would prefer that you eat non-starchy vegetables. So that should make the bulk of your diet. So non-starchy vegetables are going to be all of your like green leafy vegetables, so your collard green, mustard green, spinach, kale, all that type of stuff. Also things like Brussels sprouts, broccoli, all those things, asparagus. These are going to be low starch veggies. They should make up at least half of your plate when you think of a standard size meal plate of what you're consuming throughout the day. So ideally that's what you're doing. You may also add in moderation some starchy vegetables, which are going to be things like squash, beets, carrots. Although those things aren't as beneficial as the low starch or non-starchy veggies, they do still have some benefit to them, and they can help you recreate some of your favorite meals that you might be missing when you take out the general like wheat pasta and you start to replace it with things like sweet potato noodles or something like that instead of just regular pasta. So these are good alternatives to kind of replace what you're doing now to have a healthier version.
Hey, nothing else to add.
Nope.
Good stuff. Very simple as said. And like I said, I'm gonna just keep reiterating, guys, do some research on this, look these things up, so that way you can have even more understanding than just what you're hearing in these clips or these videos with us today.
All right, guys, and number 3 here, we want you to avoid or eliminate saturated fats. All right, guys, so saturated fats, there are a lot of studies out there that show that there could be a potential link to saturated fats and like heart disease. So these types of foods are going to be anything that's like high fat dairy, so like butter, cheese, whole milk. Also like your fatty meats, so like bacon, the fatty parts of like lamb or steak. Those are things that you really want to try to avoid, or like I said, completely eliminate from your diet, because there are some studies that are linking it to, being chronically ill. So keep that in mind, guys. We want to reduce the intake of these things or eliminate them, and really kind of switch them out with what we call polyunsaturated fats.
Yep, and again, polysaturated fats, I guess since Larissa already jumped into that one, is going to be more of your natural substances, things that are coming with healthy fats. So things like walnuts. So you obviously, nuts is a highly recommended item when you're trying to snack in between your meals when you're on a diet. Flax seeds, another really good substitute there. Sunflower seeds. I know everybody used to love sunflower seeds. I kept a bag on me all the time, even though it was ranch flavor. Not the greatest there, but they were good.
What?
Yeah, I don't
ranch
know.
Flavor?
Ranch flavor, and I think it was a chili cheese kind they had too back then.
What? They had different flavored sunflowers?
Yeah, they had different flavors. It was more than just salt and unsalted. It was a whole lot of
I
different
never
flavors.
do that, but it's not surprising to me. Also, we're from the Midwest, so just in case you guys don't, if we make references to things like that, just know that people from the Midwest love to put ranch and cheese on everything. So,
Like breadsticks, for instance.
Everything.
When it comes to cheese, breadsticks, that's like not common anywhere else in America other than the Midwest, and I don't know why. However, last two things, my favorite two items to eat when I'm trying to have a lean meal, salmon and trout. These are things that are going to provide some healthy levels of fats for you, some omega fatty acids to be exact, things that are really, really essential to having a nice, strong immune system and helping you build some nice lean muscle within the body based off your training program and regimen at the time. So guys, like we mentioned, those 3 S's, sugar, starch, saturated fats, all things that you really want to try to avoid or really limit your intake of them when you're having them, which is why things like fast foods, primarily, things that come out of a box, things that are frozen a lot of the times, those frozen dinners and things like that are going to be things that when you're getting on a healthy diet plan, they're all going to be things that are going to be in that X marked off area. Things that you really want to avoid and stay away from, and it's primarily because of these 3 items here, the sugar, the starches, and the saturated fats. And again, guys, do some research, look these things up, read about it, learn and see those facts for yourself. That way you have better understanding of it, and you can go ahead and go out, make better decisions to keep continuing to better your overall health.
Yep, guys, that's all we have for you guys. The 3 S's, sugar, starch, saturated fats. Go ahead and leave a comment and let us know what you thought about this video. And join us next week, same time, same place, for your weekly dose of Trainer Talk Tuesday. And